This film demonstrates proper ice screw placement technique, as well as how to set an anchor and a V-thread in waterfall ice. We will discuss the key technical elements, but remember that when swinging your tools into the ice, it is crucial to understand the medium on which you are climbing. The quality of the ice, its structure, the terrain above, recent changes in temperature, all these factors and others must be considered before you step off the ground and onto the ice. Make sure that you place an ice screw before reaching a section with difficult climbing or rotten ice. Always work to identify ahead of time where you plan to place an ice screw in order to avoid facing a potentially dangerous fall. Find a relaxed position with your weight-bearing arms straight and gripping a well-placed ice axe. Place your free axe far enough from the zone where you plan to place your ice screw to avoid inadvertently dislodging it. Place the ice screw at hip level. This position will allow you to apply optimum force. Ice screw placement can be broken down into 3 distinct steps. Step 1, engaging the screw teeth. Make 3 to 5 half rotations without releasing the ice screw. Press firmly until you feel the teeth start to bite into the ice. Step 2, once you feel that the screw will hold on its own in the ice, continue screwing using successive half rotations. This is a tricky step since there is still a risk that the ice screw will fall out each time you release it. Finally, step 3. Once the screw is sufficiently started, open the crank and finish screwing until the ice screw's attachment point lies flush with the ice. When you have finished, put the crank away and clip the rope. When building an anchor, keep in mind that it must be able to withstand high forces and be in a safe and comfortable location for belaying. Keep an eye out for good quality ice and think to build your anchor in a spot that is protected from any potential ice or rockfall from the upcoming pitch. Place the first ice screw, clip it with a locking carabiner and connect yourself using a clove hitch. Place the second ice screw a good distance from the first, generally no less than 50 centimeters. Remember to keep a low vector angle for proper load distribution between each anchor point. Less than 60 degrees is the general rule, but the lower the angle, the better. Connect your other rope to a carabiner on the second anchor point with a clove hitch. Finish by clipping a sling into the carabiners. Adjust the length of each rope so that you are in a comfortable stance. You never know how long you will be there. To finish building your anchor, tie the master point knot so that the sling properly distributes the load. This will reduce shock loading on the anchor if one of the anchor points fails. Now you are ready to go off belay and pull up any slack. Be sure to stack the rope carefully in order to avoid tangles. Then place the rope properly through your belay device. You are now ready to belay your second. When arriving at the anchor, your second should stand on the side of the anchor where the next pitch starts. He or she should tie into the anchor with the rope and a locking carabiner at the master point. If you are swinging leads, transfer your belay device onto your belay loop. Prior to starting the next pitch, the lead climber should place a protection point close to the anchor and clip the second rope immediately through the protection point. This eliminates the risk of a factor 2 fall onto the anchor. Once this first point of protection is placed, the climber can unclip the other rope from the anchor and start leading the next pitch. To build a V-thread, you will need minimum 7mm diameter accessory cord, a V-thread hook such as the multi-hook, a 21 centimeter long ice screw, and a healthy dose of dexterity. We recommend that you practice beforehand on the ground. Start by tying into an ice screw. After cleaning off a patch of ice, make a hole at the desired angle. Make a second hole and try to intersect with the first as far back as possible. Thread your cord with the help of the multi-hook. Join the two ends by tying an overhand follow-through or a well-tightened double fisherman's knot to make a loop. Make sure to adjust the loop to the proper length. Next, thread your rope directly through the loop of accessory cord. You can place an ice screw to back up the V-thread for the first person who descends. For example, use the ice screw that you are tethered to. Make sure that the sling remains relatively taut to minimize shock loading should the V-thread break. It is best to connect the sling directly to the rope in case the accessory cord breaks. Set up your system for rappelling. To help remember which rope to pull, clip a carabiner to it. You are now ready to descend. To descend multiple rappels as quickly as possible without having to leave gear, it is possible to use a V-thread without accessory cord. This technique also has the advantage of leaving no trace. Simply thread the rope directly through the V-thread. Pay close attention to thread the rope to be pulled from the prior rappel. This technique has the advantage of being quicker, less gear intensive, and clean, but requires that you pay extremely close attention to the possibility of the rope freezing inside the V-thread holes. As with the classic V-thread, you can add an eye screw as a backup for the first person to rappel. Remember that the demonstration of techniques shown in this film are in no way a substitute for proper training and instruction with a mountain professional. Take the time in a safe environment to learn and practice the techniques presented before using them in a real situation. So what are you waiting for? Grab your tools and have a blast on the ice.